Meghan steals herself for politics again, but then, for a change, Konrad actually has quite nice news to offer about multiple nationalities, unless of course the CDU has something to say about it. We'll need those megacans after all, Mr. Späti. Also, what happens when the German army runs out of bullets? Plus, especially for the Advent season, Meghan presents her special festive Berlin tips. Glühweins all round.
Hello everyone, it is time for another Meghan's Megacan. I'm Meghan, I'm here in a very cold, very dark Berlin, but light of my life, Konrad Werner is here. Hello Konrad.
Hello.
Are you excited?
Yeah, very excited. It's the we're in Advent time now.
We are, which means many things, one of which I've come into a little buntartella on your table, which is so exciting, and you've baked cookies.
Yeah, and I also have my annual Christmas twig over there.
I love it. Are you going to put anything on it?
Well, I don't have anything.
For our listeners, it's a beautiful sort of spruce or pine, I don't really know, kind of spray.
Yeah.
But it is nude.
Yeah, I don't have any actual decorations. I don't own any. I'd have to buy some.
Wow.
So get myself down to the Rixdorfer market or something.
Oh, which is on this weekend for the first time in the Rixdorf Christmas market in Neukölln.
Yeah, and it won a prize for sustainability. Did you see that?
Brilliant.
It's one of the better better Christmas markets sustainability wise.
Probably because it's all small local stalls, maybe. It's just so cute. If you haven't been, it hasn't been for 3 years. It's absolutely ramo.
Is it?
So if you don't love big crowds of people, you'll hate it. But you can always just go to the sides. It's in Rixdorf, which is really cute. You can go in and see the old carriages. Yeah. Like these horse carriages they have on display. There's a little pony rides and things. It's absolutely adorable. And there's always a Späti on the corner where the guys are just slinging Glühwein. Maybe it's gone up now because of inflation, but usually it's €1 a cup. And a free pour shot, I think, for 50 cents.
Wow.
So you just go to them, do a round, then come back. Like the marathon, they're just a water station.
Oh, that's great, yeah. Have you ever been to the little Rixdorf Museum?
No.
There's a little Rixdorf Museum, one of those little houses, those the old village, because it's the old Bohemian community. Mm-hmm. From what is now Czech Republic, and they have a little museum from the 19th century of how they used to live, and
it's a lovely little part of Berlin, not quite in the middle of Neukölln, but kind of in the middle of Neukölln actually, which is very busy. And it's like a little Bohemian village. Yeah. I love it. Go to Rixdorf. It's great. I really hope that the lady who makes her own Christmas decorations, but they're all cats, is there. Go to her. She's brilliant.
Her cat-based decorations.
Yeah.
Right.
All these different little homemade decorations, but all cat-based.
Are they made of wood or?
Unclear. Now I'm really worried in case the pandemic has claimed her and her cats, but hopefully not. Oh God. Yeah, because they were about to have one last year, but then Rixdorf is obviously they had to cancel it because the numbers were so high, and they were we can't really control, the numbers or anything. It's just a free for all in Neukölln, so get down there. But it's traditionally always freezing.
Brilliant.
Fantastic, which is good why you can huddle together with the huge crowds of people. You walk like penguins around. Sounds awful, but it's brilliant. Booze?
Yes.
Good.
What are we having?
Got some Lynchburg lemonades for us.
Oh, lovely.
I really wanted a ginger one. I don't know if you got my text message earlier where I was suggesting we could just heat up a mega can.
Well, I'm not in the can.
Not in the can, no. I'm not insane.
Yeah, you could. You could. I don't know if it's a really good idea. I mean, you imagine a whiskey and ginger something, and then warm that up.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, it sounds good. But I don't know what happens when you heat up carbonated drinks.
I don't know. Fucking
scientists out there.
Magic, for all we know. Meghan's Megacan, the podcast that arguably raises more questions than it answers. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh God. Oof. Jeez. That's a delicious one.
Lovely, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's one of the best.
So lemony.
Yeah. I feel like my Friday has just started.
Yeah.
Anyway, you have to get through this news first. Because that's why we're here for.
Distract you with talk of Christmas markets and other things. All right, what's been going on in the news?
So, well, it's actually good news this week.
What?
Because the German cabinet has agreed in principle to its immigration reforms, one of which will possibly affect you. In that the ban on dual citizenship, which Germany has laboured under for decades, is going to be lifted. Now, they've already had quite a lot of exceptions to the dual citizenship. I mean, it doesn't matter to you anyway, because you're EU, aren't you?
It does, because I have Canadian citizenship.
Oh, right. Okay. So up to now...
But me and my insane passport privilege is not really the question here. But I do remember... So this is in the coalition contract.
Yeah.
That they're all like, this is what we're going to do. Because I remember then getting to that paragraph when I was reading it. And I got quite emotional, like, and I like unexpectedly, because I think it is kind of important when you've made a country your home to have some kind of recourse to being recognised as a citizen.
Yeah. I mean, some people would say that is basic.
Yeah.
And I learned today that it's quite normal in most other countries, in most of the European countries. France already has nothing against dual citizenship. Italy, Sweden, most countries.
The UK doesn't?
No.
Come one, come all?
Yeah.
You got to bring a shit ton of cash.
Yeah. What happened this week was the Eckpunkte, the bullet points, so to speak, of the immigration reforms and the citizenship reforms were presented, and this was the main one, and it immediately caused the CDU to throw all of its toys out of the pram.
All of its tiny gold-plated toys. All its miniature Volkswagens
They lost their collective shit.
Fucking assholes. Right, let's hear it. What have they been saying? Because this is the thing, and I did see something about this on Instagram, where people just say racist shit, but they use these other words for it now, like integration, you know, all of that. It's covered up with this euphemistic language, and it's just... Anyway.
So I should say it's not just dual citizenship or multiple citizenship, it's also making it easier in general to become a citizen. So instead of 8 years, which the rule is now, it will be 5 years.
Yeah.
And if you are particularly engaged in society or well integrated, it's down to 3 years. So if you do, I don't know, volunteer work, or you learn German really quickly or whatever, you become an MP.
I think it is shorter for people who have a certain level of German at the moment.
Yeah. So they want to reduce it in general. They want to make other rules easier. So people over the age of 67 won't have to do the really hard German test. They will just only be able to have to do the speaking test. So that if you can make yourself understandable in conversation, that's fine. Anyway, so CDU and CSU came out with a barrage of quotes, some of which I'll offer you here.
I'm trying one of your cookies now to try and stop myself talking or screaming. But let's see how it goes. You might just get crumbs everywhere, I'm sorry.
I put blueberries in this one.
It's so good. It's delicious.
Die Ampel will den deutschen Pass offenbar verramschen, said Andrea Lindholz of the CSU.
I don't know what that verb is, so verramschen?
It's a verb that's made out of ramschen, which means like junk. So to enjunk something, to make something into junk.
You can take your German passport, Andreas, and shove it up your hole.
Andrea is a lady.
Oh, Andrea, even worse. How dare you?
Soon, practically everyone will get it. And then she said something odd. She said foreigners in Germany will lose a lot of their incentive to become integrated through these reforms. So that was one of them.
Yeah, if we let them vote, they'll probably become less involved with political life.
The Verramschen thing was also used by Thorsten Frey, who is the CDU's parliamentary leader. Yeah, there was all this stuff about incentives and cheapening the value of the German passport was the kind of key tenor of the thing. I should say something about the group in Germany that this is going to affect the most as a single group will be like obviously the Turkish community who've been here for decades, especially from what's the so-called guest worker generation from the 1960s when many people came. There's like 3 million people of Turkish heritage in Germany, and about half of them have Turkish citizenship. And this is obviously makes a big thing. So the German Turkish community organization sort of welcomed this and said, like, this should have been done ages ago. And if it had been done ages ago, we would have had a different Germany now. These people would have felt more engaged. People would have got more politically engaged. People would have got more socially engaged. And this has obviously come too late for the first generation, but for the second and third generation, who have basically they once had this rule about you had to choose at age 23 which passport you wanted. So you had to you had a choice. You could either be German or you could be, that was the compromise 20 years ago. You could either be German.
That's how we'll make people integrate. And the thing is, they're not talking about integration. What they are demanding is assimilation, but that's become a word that we don't really use anymore. That's not politically correct. So they say integration, but they just use it wrong. This is exactly leading to integration, where you have plurality in society and everyone is engaged. It's such a... The thing is, it's one of those debates. This is not an immigration debate. This is already for people, and you can have that separate debate, and I'm going to disagree with the CDU on that as well. And I think this is a point, I read sort of one article about this week, which was in the Tats, where it's basically just these are just people who are saying people can come to this country for however many years and be completely exploited and all of this stuff for generations, and you're still going to be oh no passport for you, because you have to really earn that. Earn it? How? The people who came over in the 60s had to come because we couldn't build the shit that they wanted to build and do all of the jobs that people weren't going to do, and that is still happening. I mean, this is an obvious point, but it's so gross when they say things then everyone can get one. Your gross economy runs on... And the level of wealth that people that vote for the CDU get to, not everyone, but that level of comfort and the German way of life and driving your cars and everything, that is dependent on the people working low paid jobs. And then to say, but you don't actually get to vote is just so disgusting.
Yeah.
It is to vomit.
And we should say that is the main reason that this government is even bringing in these reforms, is because of the economic necessity of it. It is the same as in the 1960s when the German economy was growing so fast they didn't have enough workers, so they had to bring in. They signed deals not only with Turkey but with all kinds of countries, Spain, Italy, loads of countries had signed this agreement. Portugal, where they were trying to get as many people to move here as possible to work in the factories, because Germany was this massive industrial powerhouse. Mm-hmm. And now we're in this sort of similar situation where that generation is aging and there aren't enough kids being born, so they have to there's going to be a whole generation of old people that need looking after by the rest of society, and there's basically every sector in the German economy is now short of people to employment. So that's why they're even doing this, and that's the argument they keep making, is that some companies are on the edge of going out of business because they can't find people to work for them. And they keep talking about skilled labour, but it's just all it's not even skilled labour is a bit of a misnomer anyway. Because
again, that's that kind of there's the right kind of immigrant. You think that cleaning people in a nursing home and taking care of those people and being a hospital orderly isn't fucking skilled?
Yeah.
I don't have those skills.
Yeah.
I don't have the skills to go and clean. No.
So and there's this sort of sense that they have to be, the people have to be grateful to be allowed to move to Germany and come here. But in fact, there was a really good thread that I read on Twitter by Chris Piak, which brought up a lot of these illusions that Germany has about its citizenship and why people come here. And most people come here because they're more. A lot of people who come here are actually more educated than the average German. And also, a lot of people are discouraged from coming here because of the racism in Germany. And a lot of the people who are here don't want to work in certain parts of Germany because of the racism, and often get driven out or move away. And that also affects German people because they're often if they're often higher up in the companies, and then these companies go out of business, and so German people lose their jobs because of the effects of the racism. Anyway, that was I'll link to that thread. He said it explained it a lot better than me. It is in German, but it was really good. Yeah. So that's the one thing about the dual citizenship. So the cabinet says they want to do it, but it might be like with the Bundesrat situation that the CDU might want to try and water down some of these rules.
So who has said, which the cabinet have said that they want to do it, and now it has to go through?
This is just this is basically just Eckpunkte. So they've set out their basic principles about what they want to do, and now they have to make a draft law, and then the draft law has to be go through all the relevant ministries, and then it gets presented to the Bundestag, and then it gets presented to the Bundesrat, which is obviously more complicated because a lot of states are controlled by the CDU.
Lads, just
it's going to take a while.
Get it done. There's no unless you want to fund your parents' government care by yourself, then you can either do that, or you can just let the lovely people who might be looking after them in the care homes get a fucking passport after 5 years of being here. And maybe that would be nice.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Loads of countries have this. Loads of them. And they're not tumbling into chaos.
Do you want to hear some of the other immigration reforms that are being planned?
Sure.
Integration courses for all. So new rules will come in so that language and integration courses will not only be applied to people who already got their asylum, but from anyone who comes to Germany as asylum seeker will have access, will have a right to do an integration course. That's one little reform that is being brought in. Skilled workers, so they want to. One big problem with getting people with highly qualified people is the people that you really want to come here, but the problem is always recognizing their qualifications.
Yes, I believe I've talked about this.
Yeah,
at some length.
So recognizing qualifications. They want to make it so that at the moment, you can submit your qualifications in the original language, so English or whatever, and not have to get a notarized translation done. And in many cases where there are certain groups or sectors where they're desperately short of workers, they will allow you to, as long as your qualification is recognized in the country you're from, then that counts. They don't even want to start checking him anymore. There was a thing where it would have to go through this long process with the embassy in whatever country where you'd have to get it seen if what the equivalent is in Germany and whether that counts. And so they want to get rid of a lot of that bureaucracy and just say, okay, if it's recognized in your country, then you and you have an employer who wants to employ you, then you can come.
Shocking.
There used to be a thing for also highly qualified academics. If they wanted to come to Germany, they had to have a job in Germany with a minimum income of 56,000 a year. So
for academics,
yeah. So that used to be the rule. This is part of the EU blue card system as well. You can't just come to Germany with a job. It doesn't count at all jobs like that. It was so the sectors medicine, IT, and engineering, which every country in Europe is desperate for people who are specialists in those things. There, the limit is still 43,000, but for all other sectors, it was 56,000, and now it's going to be brought down so that if you got a job that is 43,000 a year, then you're allowed in.
I love Germany. No, you just kind of have to look at, I mean, obviously this is affecting people's lives, but for the sake of our own sanity, there's severe, like you said, job shortages. They do not have enough fucking teachers. There's just not enough. It is appalling. The education system's terrible here anyway. Awful. So old fashioned, no teachers. And they're still like, what if? Now hear me out. Hear me out. It's 2022. We've had this problem for years. Then there was a pandemic. It got so much worse. It's terrible. What if they have a qualification to teach, we recognize them as teachers? That is their thing of trying to make it attractive.
How would your life have been different if this reform had been in place?
I probably would have got a job possibly straight away in a state school. I only became qualified to work in state schools this year.
Would you have done that?
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
And now I've been sucked into the private school system, and all my great talents are being wasted on like 12 kids in a class. And I'm like, I'm not sure I want to go back to that other one. And also, I know more about how shit a lot of the state schools. Not like I'm not saying it's like a school's problem or a teacher's problem. It's just like this grinding beast of like the most antiquated bullshit.
Students and people getting into trainees, apprenticeships, people getting into that. Up to now, you're not allowed to work if you're a student from abroad. Non-EU student, you come to Germany, you're not allowed to work. And they want to change that and allow you to work. And because obviously they want you to get a job, and then hopefully your boss likes you, and then you stay in that job, and then you stay in Germany and start paying taxes.
Get knocked up. Knock somebody up. Keep them here. Keep them here.
So that, and also like all skilled, like apprenticeships that you could get. I don't know, carpentry, things like that. So you should be able, if you come here and you get a place in that, you should be able to earn money as soon as you get here. There's something called the Western Balkans regulation, which covers people from Albania, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Macedonia, Montenegro, and Serbia. Up to now, they used to have to do priority checks for those people. So if you got a job here, they used to have to check if there wasn't someone German or from the EU who could also do that job, who you'd be employed. So they want to...
There's no one wanting to do any of the jobs, lads. Just fucking take someone. If they show up, give them Probezeit. Then if they're not any good, you can find someone else. It's not hard.
So they want to drop that regulation, so there's no more priority checks. And
I wonder if they just had to drop it because it was just no one's applying.
Yeah, and also the limitation of 25,000 people per year from those countries is going to be dropped as well, possibly, or raised, or significantly. It's a quota that they had from those countries, and also include other countries in those. In that Western Balkan regulation.
Okay.
So there's some of the little rules and regulations they want to change. But there's quite a lot more. There's like 70 pages of this. I don't want to go through it all.
Maybe not. Maybe not tonight. I've only got half my mega left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to some more kind of racist debates in the Bundestag as we go forward with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's mad as though we have these racist debates like every couple of years. It's like Germany
super
never
gross.
changes.
And like,
there used to be the Doppelpass. They used to talk about the Doppelpass.
what the fuck's that?
Well, like a dual nationality.
Oh, okay.
But there used to be that used to be the hashtag, and now it's not. I don't know, not anymore. But yeah.
Because like, say what you want about the absolute fascism of the UK. Like, it's just my boyfriend applied for a visa, and he got like advertisements back in the envelope with his like government document. It was like, because they've farmed everything out to these other things, so he got like a little advertisement for a SIM card, like if you're going to the UK, like a short-term SIM card from the fucking border. Just what the fuck. Anyway,
well, yeah, everything's under sponsorship in the UK, isn't it? They kind of.
Yeah.
They probably have to do deals with SIM card companies to keep the border guards running.
But it's hard to imagine a debate around citizenship in the House of Commons using such outrageous things as like people want to just debase the value of the British passport. Like I don't know. Obviously in some circles, but this is like
Oh, I don't think I mentioned this little rule change. Children born in Germany of at least one parent who has been living legally in the country for 5 years will automatically get German citizenship.
What? How is that not a thing?
Yeah, it wasn't up to now. You weren't necessarily German if you were born in Germany.
Oh, I suppose, I knew that like theoretically, but I didn't really think about it.
So now they want to change it. So if you've got one parent who's been legally living here for 5 years or more, your kid will become German automatically just by being born here. That's new.
God, I can't
that would be new.
Imagine the paperwork that would be involved with that.
Yeah.
My friend had a baby recently, and he couldn't get a birth certificate because all the computers at the Standesämter were completely backlogged. He did, however, before he haven't even had an official name, he did have a Steuernummer, a tax number. Oh, Germany. Right. All right. Anything else? What's been happening?
Well, there's some Bundeswehr controversy.
Yeah, let's say that Germany is so irritatingly smug, arrogant, and up itself without any cause to be that someone actually just decides, do you know what? Fuck it. We're going to attack. What happens then?
Well, according to reports, this number was bandied around earlier this week quite a lot. So apparently, if Germany was attacked, the army would only have enough ammunition for 2 days of intense fighting.
Great.
Now, that number is sort of being leaked from like defense circles.
Oh, so it's not like someone just looking at the numbers and going, this is what I think. That's an actual someone is there with a clipboard going.
Thing is that is also that number is also a state secret. If it's true or not, it's like you can't really confirm that because it's not supposed to be in the news how much ammunition the army has. It's kind of like it's kind of secret information. So it seems to have been leaked to several journalists from defense circles, possibly by disgruntled military officials who
want more money for big guns.
Yeah. So anyway, but it went around the news a lot earlier this week. It was even on. Have you ever watched Die Heute show?
No.
It's like the comedy show.
I know. I've tried to watch these things, and I can see what they're doing. They've got their like Stephen Colbert or like Jon Stewart, whatever. Except of course that it's not in any way
funny.
It's just doing that German thing where you just shout. You just shout, and then people go, ha ha ha. Sorry, that's really
cabaret.
rude.
It's also called cabaret.
It's horrendous.
But so they even mentioned this number on the news, and there was a lot of. But it's been in the news quite often in the last few years that how the soldiers haven't got enough thermal underwear. Have you heard about this?
Oh God, that's harsh.
They have to buy their own equipment quite often.
So basically, like the Russian army at the moment.
Yeah, stuff like that, and it's always been a thing. Like procurement is what the official term is. Like procurement for the army is very complicated because they need a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and because it's all state
I can only imagine.
You have to do, and because they're part of the EU, there has to be an EU-wide, tendering procedure whenever the army buys anything. To be, it's like tendering. It's like a thing where you have to get offers from.
I know what tendering.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, good. So they have to get all these offers.
I was just sorry. The confusion on my face was trying to work out like what this would look like, and undoubtedly Germany will have come up with an unbelievably complicated procedure involving stamps and everything having to be stamped.
Yeah.
And they won't at any point picked up the phone to any other army that works quicker and gone, what's your process? Run me through it. And then they go, well, we just do this, this, and this, and this. And then it works. But they'll be there stamping.
So now Eva Högl is the Bundestag commissioner for the armed forces, and she gave this interview where she said like a lot of these things happen. She mentioned this story about when German soldiers are training in their tanks with other NATO soldiers, they don't have the right radios. They have the old analog radios, and all the other NATO countries have like digital radios so they can all talk to each other. And the German one the German soldiers have to like wave out of the tank and say like, come over here.
And Germans aren't great with communication at the best of times. Let's give these boys some decent radios. Yeah. Let's get the boys and girls some radios. Oh no.
And Eva Högl said this was embarrassing.
Yeah.
For the German army. And there are all these stories like this. So for certain NATO partners, particularly those that have a border with Russia, like the Baltic nations, they think this is really bad because they think Germany is a big country. They rely a lot on NATO, and it's very nearby, and they rely on the German army to protect them if there ever was an invasion. And they said, like, this isn't really good enough for us. So it was a big story. And then you'll remember that earlier in the year, Olaf Scholz gave his Zeitenwende speech.
He did, yeah.
Where he said he would give 100 billion euros to the armed forces to re-equip everything, and it's not really happened that much, and it's partly because of it's just difficult to, you can't really equip an army that quickly, you know. It takes a long time because of all the tendering procedures. So they're trying to lower the bureaucratic hurdles. So, for example, commanders now will be able to spend 5,000 euros without having to go through the procurement procedure. So they'll be able to buy socks, you would have thought.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
So that's it. And then the ammunition thing is another issue, because during the Cold War, Germany had loads of bunkers. There was a lot of army bunkers were in Germany, and they were filled with ammunition. And then after the Cold War, they kind of sold them all off. And because they just thought, oh, we kind of need the money, and there have been budget cuts, and we don't really need these bunkers anyway, because, you know, Russia's not going to attack us. And so now even if they had all this ammunition...
How can Germany... How is that? How is the one thing that Germany has ever moved quickly on is fucking Russia? 180-degree turn in, like, no time. Why is that the only... How? I don't get it.
So...
That's the only thing that they've been like, oh no, we need to be careful. No, oh, the Russians, we love the Russians now. Let's get all of their gas and be totally reliant on them. How could this go wrong? Sell off the bunkers. They seem class. It's fine. How? Make it make sense, Konrad.
So now they're saying that even if they had all the ammunition that they needed, they wouldn't have anywhere to put it because they don't have the bunkers. So that's the
So, like, what are the bunkers now? Like,
I don't know.
Hotels or some shit?
Yeah, they're like luxury flats for
luxury
hipsters.
flats. You have to go around like, I'm going to need you to put some stuff. See those silent sliding walk-in wardrobes? Just going to have to put a few boxes in there. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wowie. Okay.
So
that's good.
That was what is in the news, more or less. Oh yeah, and the CDU is obviously blaming the SPD for this, and then sort of not mentioning, because they always blame the SPD for this. But then, of course, the CDU was in power for the last 16 years.
Yeah.
So they kind of said, well,
yeah,
you kind of made this happen as well.
Yes, a lot more than us. 16 times. You're 16 times more responsible than us on this one.
I think that's it. I think that's all the facts that I can dazzle you with today.
It's been a trip. I'm excited.
How long have we been talking for?
I don't know.
Only half an hour. Okay, good.
That's about enough, I think.
Well, then we should get to part 3, which is Megan's festive tips.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I think it's helpful, rather than trying to have a good news section, which I think we've managed about 3 times, and even then it's usually bittersweet at best. It's just ambiguous news, not good news. But I talk a lot of shit about Germany. However, there are a lot of things that are great about living here. And one of them is fucking Adventszeit. It's great. Whatever you celebrate, I think Germany, it's becoming more and more secular. So I feel like, everyone can get involved if they want. And my tip for this episode is go to the Holländer Garden Centre. They have 2. One is by the Olympiastadion, which I have never been to, but is probably equally awesome. The one I know is by Treptower Park. It's the Garden Centre, and it's become like more and more and more and more festive. Go there to get your Christmas tree. That's great if you have one. They've got loads of Christmas decorations, lights. They've just turned it into like a winter wonderland. There's still like some plants you can buy for outside, and the indoor plants is still the same. But everything else, winter wonderland. If you have children, there's a little train they can ride. There's a whole model train thing with ski slopes and little cute places and skaters, like a miniature world.
Skaters? What, real skaters?
Not real, like miniature ones.
Oh, right, okay.
Skating around.
Oh, right, okay.
I got my Advent wreath, my Adventskranz there the other day. It's absolutely amazing. They used to, back in the day, have like a big thing of Glühwein that you could serve yourself from for free. That's not there anymore, sadly. But they do have like a little hut where you can get very nice whatever the the really nice Glühwein that's not too sweet for €4 in a little cup.
Oh, lovely.
That's my tip. It's fucking brilliant.
That is a great tip because I have only ever been to the garden centre in the spring when I need to buy new plants.
It's great at any time.
And I didn't realise that there were winter plants.
It's so festive. It's really like someone in there really, really loves Christmas and has like just gone all out. They had these insane wreaths there. If Germany, your Advent wreath is like 4 candles. I love that about Germany, actually, the Advent thing.
The wreath.
I feel like coming up to Christmas at home, it's just like, have you done your shopping yet? And it's very commercial. I know it's a cliched thing to say, but it is. But here it's all about like on the Advent Sundays, spending time with your family, having your cookies.
And you light another candle.
Yeah, and you light another candle on the 4 candle thing. And like people like, I got wished like a happy second Advent twice today.
Oh, right.
It's nice. Taking time, reflect, getting together.
Yeah, that is true. That is, Germans really do Christmas right.
They do. So what we're going to need, guys, is take that Christmas spirit and apply it to your fucking immigration and citizenship policies.
That's very true.
May I once again remind the CDU what the fucking C stands for, unless you want to change it to what I think the C stands for, which I shan't say. Because it's Advent time.
Because baby Jesus was an immigrant too.
I tell you.
Was he?
I don't know.
Kind of.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah.
Okay. That's a great... Will you have another one of those tips for us next week?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, good.
Oh, we've also talked about Rixdorf, but that's fine. I don't know when this podcast is going to go out, so I don't know if it's...
Great. Okay, well, that'll be it then for this week.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
I've still got some of my megacan left.
Yeah.
Go out and get yourself a JD and Tennessee whiskey. Lynchburg lemonade.
Yeah.
Delicious.
And, okay. Also, thank you very much to Neve, who asked me a question.
One of our patrons, yes.
Yeah, and I have not forgotten, and I will answer that question.
We're not ignoring you, Neve. We just... It's a big one.
It's a big question, and I want to do some revision before I answer it.
I mean, I can answer now. I'll like give us my feelings, so that's fine. But I won't.
We'll do it next time.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Happy
everyone.
second Advent.
Bye.
Bye.